and it's called emergency bug out bags. So before we go into describing the get home bag, can you give us an understanding of why we need a emergency bug out bag or emergency bag, or some might call it a to go bag?
Okay. Originally, FEMA had set up that everyone should have a disaster bag in case they'd have to bug out or in case there's a disaster that help cannot get to you for 2 or 3 days. So the original premise was the bags were set up on 72 hours. But then it was found out later that you had to have specialty bags for different situations. Like there's basically five. One's called an EDC, stands for everyday carry. Next one would be a GHB, that's your get home bag. That would be one that you'd keep in your vehicle, and it would have about a day and a half of supplies in it in case something happened, an EMP occurred, your car shut off, and you had to walk home from work. Third one would be your bug out bag, which that's called your Bob, and that's based upon 3 days. And then down south, they don't call them Bobs, they call them good bags, and good stands for get out of Dodge.
I
And then,
like that.
and then, and then the last and final bag would be your inch bag. Inch stands for I'm never coming home. The
Mm,
situation is so dire. I mean, you've got Taliban coming down the street to your house, or you've got Chernobyl happening, and you got to leave now. And chances are you're not going to be able to return.
mm,
So, what you would have on your back is all you would have, and that's going to determine how well you're going to make it in the field. So, that bag's going to be a little bit bigger and it's going to be a lot heavier than your other bags. But
all right.
we use the example of Hurricane Harvey when it hit Texas. Flooding was so extensive that people had to wade in water to get to a collection point where boats could pick them up and take them to safety. But until the currents and that flood water slowed down to where people could easily wade into it, um, you had to stay in your home. You would have had no power. You would have had no water. You would have had to survive on what you would have had in your disaster kit. And
Mhm.
that's another reason why they're so vital. Is again, Mother Nature is providing 300 disasters a year around the world, and you just don't know what you're going to be faced with, not counting what man-made disasters can occur. So it's
Yeah.
always good to have a disaster kit on hand. And today's topic, which is the get home bag, is the one that you're going to keep in your car to make it possible for you to reach home safely in the event you had to get out and walk.
Hmm. Okay.
So,
And if you can, and I know this is just throwing it out there, but what are maybe some situations that could occur?
well, just I'm gonna use like the snowstorm in Atlanta. I mean, it was no more than a half an
Happened.
inch, but people were stuck out there on the highway, and being stuck on the highway, a lot of them ran out of gas because they're out there on the highway
Right.
a quarter of an inch. Traffic was at a standstill, and as soon as their car stops, it becomes a roadblock for everything that's behind it. And
Mm,
a lot of people started abandoning their cars trying to walk. Now, with that get home bag being in your vehicle, you would have extra food, water, you'd have extra supplies on hand, and that's what you want to have is that emergency go to. Or let's say you get stuck in a snowstorm somewhere and you got to wait on rescue to come. Well,
mm,
those having those extra provisions inside the car and items could help to take care of you and maybe keep you warm until rescue could arrive. And in the
mhm,
event that we get into a nuclear war and an EMP weapon is used on the United States, it's going to kill your electronic computer and it'll kill your solenoid in your car. And
mm,
you're going to have to walk at that point. You could be at work and have to walk home. Or let's say
mm,
that your vehicle, somebody flattens your car tire, there's a civil unrest going on, and there's massive rioting. You may need to have that kit to be able to try to get home and stay hidden in an abandoned house or something overnight, and then leave during the early morning hours before, as the sun starts to come up, before everybody gets back out on the streets and start to act up.
Mm,
It'll give you the ability to have some comforts to get you through the situation,
mhm.
and it's
And
vital to have.